and thank you for joining us on this first episode of our Soundtrack to Success. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Mike Hall from ThinkSMART Marketing, and Soundtrack to Success was born out of a kind of an idea we had based on me rummaging through my record collection. And we had the idea that it'd be great to connect with other business owners and chat to them about their passion for music and a bit of business as well. And I'm delighted that our first guest on this premiere is, well, I thought it was Mike Roberts' brother when he turned up with his goatee beard on, but actually it's actually Mike Roberts from PMG. Good afternoon, Mike.
Good afternoon, Mike. How are you?
I'm all right. And thank you for joining us on this session.
Pleasure.
So for those who don't know you, before we get into your kind of love of music and all that kind of thing, do you just want to let everyone know who you are and what it is that you do?
Yeah, so for those that don't know me, I'm Mike Roberts and I own and run PMG Print Management based just outside Leeds. We're a production independent print management business and working with the hotel, leisure sector, as well as retail and other areas.
Yeah. And you have a love of music amongst other things. I know we could talk cars and all sorts of stuff, but we're going to talk about music today.
Yeah.
And you, when I sort of chatted to you about it, you came up with your kind of go-to album was AC/DC, Back in Black.
Yes.
So go on then. Why is that?
Why indeed? Because it was a close call between two, but that album has been a constant in my life since probably, well, little after it came out in 1980. I was a mere 13-year-old and I had a big thing about status quo at the time, but this AC/DC seemed to really get under my skin, and this album, after Bon Scott passing away, really, I don't know, it I just loved it. It wasn't completely in your face like some heavy metal, yet it can be rocky enough that it wakes you up if you need waking up.
Yeah, and was that the kind of attraction then? It was that kind of just something a little bit different that kind of led you to want to go down that route?
Well, I think the fascination with AC/DC stems from it was my sister who took me to a disco. It was the Scout Disco in Pontefract. And A Whole Lot of Rosie was one of the first tracks I heard. Yeah. Then I found out it was AC/DC. Then I looked into AC/DC, and funnily enough, Angus Young, he obviously had the schoolboy uniform, which is his signature, and he had the same tie as my school. So then there was a bit of an attachment to Angus Young there. Not that I can play a guitar. And Back in Black, I don't know, there's just something about it. It's just a mega track, mega album with some great tracks, and it clearly was something I wanted to associate with.
And I suppose it's just finding that kind of niche that you kind of feel comfortable with, isn't it? And as you say, when we were chatting about the albums, there's so many that you can choose from, and there's so many different things that kind of you can pinpoint, but there's certain things that bring back those kind of, I guess, memories of stuff and takes you straight back to those times when you first heard those kind of albums and those tracks.
Absolutely. I mean, music is a very, very powerful thing, and certainly for me over the last couple of years, my love of music has increased. And whilst AC/DC, Back in Black has always been my go-to, particularly if I'm driving, particularly if I've been a bit stressed or anything like that. Some people might want to put calmer music on, and I probably do a bit more calmer music these days as well. But Back in Black was just a great one to drive to the lakes, for example. Yeah, and
it takes you back. And I think the other thing as well of recently, with things like Iron Man and things like that, it's kind of brought a whole new audience to it as well, hasn't it?
Yeah,
and a lot of people will associate that with Iron Man, don't they? With certainly the intro track, the intro to the movie and all that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, in a way, depending on how you think about it, you can say Iron Man 2, the soundtrack is like the greatest hits of AC/DC. And it suddenly, whilst I won't say it made me cool in the eyes of my sons, when they watched Iron Man 2 and then, the music came on, Dad, that's AC/DC. Yeah. Tony Stark listens to AC. I went, there you go, guys.
Yeah. And they sort of said, don't get the outfit out then.
Well, yeah. It'd been a bit of a squeeze for me, yeah.
It's a bit of a challenge. But I think, in other ways, it kind of shows, testament to their brand, doesn't it? As well as to how it's lasted that length of time.
Yeah. I mean, from they're an Australian band, started in 73 or something like that off the top of my head. And I do believe that like Coke have got an iconic brand, Nike have got an iconic brand. I think the AC/DC logo itself is an iconic brand in itself, and it's actually made its way into fashion. You see people with these retro shirts on that are wearing it more as a fashion statement as well, which I think is quite curious.
Yeah, and I think also as well with introducing it to another kind of audience is what it's really about, isn't it? And other people are now getting to see things, and I think we'd all die for a brand like that kind of lasted that long.
Oh God, yeah.
We'd all be screaming for that kind of thing, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So just thinking about the experience it brings with you, it's obviously quite a powerful thing. Is that kind of, as you said, that's your go-to track? What other kind of stuff do you kind of start getting into and things if you have that bad day at the office?
Oh, Mike, I mean, I've got such an eclectic mix of taste in music. I mean, from the day that my mother called me a musical moron because my father and mother are both into classical music. My dad's a chorister. I don't have a musical instrument bone in my body. So if I was listening to Rainbow, AC/DC, and Status Quo back in the day in my bedroom, Mum calling me a musical moron has stayed with me to this day. But more recently, I've over this sort of COVID period and everything, I found myself, whilst I've been trying to find my way through myself, and there've been a few personal difficulties for myself. A lot of 80s, even 70s music, technically stuff I'm maybe too young for. So things like the Doobie Brothers, for example, Bachman Turner Overdrive. There's a bit of a theme there. It's that American rock or that sort of sound. I mean, Journey's always been one of my favourite albums or bands, and Def Leppard, good old Yorkshire, South Yorkshire, heavy metal gurus that are Def Leppard.
I think that's the thing, isn't it? There's never really a right or wrong. We've all got these different tastes in music, and there's nothing. I remember at school it was always like, well, you don't like that band? Why are you weird? But now I think
back in the day though, you were split because either you were a rocker, or you were a mod, or you were a new romantic, or you were a goth, and it was very much a segregation back then, wasn't it?
Yes, very much so. It was like, if you didn't like them, you're a bit weird, and if you like them, well, there's something wrong with you then, isn't there? It really was like that. Whereas I think as you get, should we say, wiser and a bit older, you kind of get to appreciate the different genres of stuff. That's out there, and it's.
I mean, on my day, I could listen to, at the end of the day, I can listen to Jerry Rafferty. I could listen to ABBA. I could listen to, dare I say it, and this is going to be out there forever, but I listened to Phil Collins' greatest hits very recently, of all things. But actually, I think that was on the back of reading his autobiography on holiday just over a year ago. Yeah. And I didn't realise that chap had gone through so many sort of trials and tribulations. Yeah. And it put a different spin onto the lyrics.
Yeah. Well, as a Genesis fan, and Face Value was one of the first albums I kind of really got into. I kind of get it. In fact, we're waiting for COVID to get sorted out because we have tickets to go and see Genesis in December. If it gets postponed any longer, they might not be there. But they're all kind of cracking on somewhat. But I think it's understanding those things. And I was kind of weaned. I'm going to say weaned on Barry Manilow, if that makes any help to you. It makes you feel better because it was all the
Carpenters. My was Carpenters by my mother.
Mum, Barry Manilow, Gavin Buddy Holly, and all that kind of stuff. And I think you find yourself reflecting as you kind of get older a little bit on the different kind of stuff that's out there. I mean, I know Richard who's watching on this. He's big into U2, and he's going to come on. We'll chat to him at some point soon. And I think everyone's got their own. It still comes back, doesn't it? To we start reminiscing and the memories and the experiences. What this is.
I think it's taking. I think certainly what the last sort of 12 months has given a lot of us is a different mountain to view things from, and certainly for me, having gone through, as I said a bit earlier, some of the difficulties I found myself personally in COVID. I've really delved back into music and really listening to lyrics, and it's helped me when I've been really stressed or just fretting about what the future looks like. To stick the old soundproof headphones on and escape life around you and just listen to lyrics helps me picture, get that mental picture of what the song was, what the song's about, and it just takes all that noise when I had the noise going on, it takes it all away from me and just chills me out.
It's a bit of escapism, isn't it? Like I say, I do that on running or when I'm in the gym, and I've started, because I can't go to the gym, I'll be doing stuff at home, and you whack the 70s channel on and you start hearing all these great tracks. And the sad thing is, you remember all the lyrics from them as well. That's the thing that I've noticed, from all these years ago, you remember stuff.
And I don't know if anybody else, that's watching this as well, but I actually find a bit of comfort in certain bands that I even didn't like back then. You could talk about Depeche Mode, you could talk about The Cure or The Alarm or the Smiths, and all of a sudden you hear a track and you think, oh, I'll download that on Spotify. And you download an album and you go, bloody hell, I've missed this. This is fantastic.
I know. And I think that's one of the beauties of the kind of what we're living in now, the age where everything is so accessible, so it's easy, isn't it? You pay £9 a month for your subscription, and you can get all this great stuff and go back and actually we've got my two, even though they're older now, and I must admit they got me into things like, got me into things like Bullet from My Valentine, all that kind of goth stuff. But them listening to the stuff we had, and then what's even weirder is hearing the newer tracks coming out where they're sampling stuff that we heard back in the 70s. Which just goes to show how old we actually are, doesn't it? But again, we'll gloss over that. But it all does come round to creating these great experiences. Yeah. And from your perspective, if you take that into your kind of work life, do you have the music on at work? We do. Is that a key part for the team to be able to listen to stuff in the warehouse?
Well, I think it's a bone of contention, to be honest, Mike. Sometimes, because we've got some colleagues here that kid themselves that they're not as old as they think they are, and they want to listen to Capital, where some of us don't want to listen to Capital. So we tend to go middle of the road, Radio 2. Popmaster is the real tester. Yes, that's the real tester for everybody at 10:30. Yeah. And then it's just a question of when it gets to Jeremy Vine, do we actually want to listen to the drudgery of it or not? Yeah,
the depression will get stuff stuck on something else. But then if you think, because you in your business, which is all around the print and things like this, it's still about you help the customers then to create these great experiences when it comes to print and things like that. The sort of things you can take, I guess, out of helping people create memories when they're getting the print or whatever that might be. It's building that experience, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, I think the big plug for print, if I've got that opportunity to say it briefly now, is the one thing that print gives over and above anything digital is that emotional connection and the tactility of it. The touchy-feely smell, all that sort of stuff. I mean, my wife Ellie just rolls her eyes still now that every piece of print that comes through the door, although maybe not recently with COVID, but I pick it up, I'm looking at it, I'm sniffing it, I'm working out whether Cliff printed it or whether somebody else printed it or whatever, And you don't get that on the screen.
No,
you just don't.
No, and it is kind of, we talk a lot about touch points, and it is about getting those kind of things in place, isn't it? So that allows you to create an experience like you remember, your memory memorable of music. You want to remember your activities that you're getting from your suppliers and so on and things like that.
Yeah. I mean, I think that the power of a good message on a piece of print does and can be everlasting, and it can reconnect you to somewhere or a point in time. And you know what, right now I don't think that's a bad thing, and particularly as we get older, it's going to help us if we develop any other conditions, isn't it?
Well, I think it is, and I think having all these things in place that allow you to consider print as part of your kind of customer journey, customer touch points, whatever it is really vital, because it is about creating those those experiences. I mean, if you think about going to concerts and things like that, whenever those, and I know Rich is a big fan of going to concerts, thinking about concert experiences, it's going there, isn't it? It's getting the program, it's getting the t-shirt, it's getting the ticket.
It was seeing the characters. It was all of it. It was seeing the characters back then. I mean, the first concert was Bridlington Spa, 1981, I think it was, because the follow on in 1982 was the 20th anniversary tour, and just being in amongst all that as a kid, it was unbelievable. It just blew your mind. And then live music is it's a fantastic experience. Yeah, it really is.
I must admit, it does for me as well. We miss going, but certainly going to it all, and it's the build up to it, isn't it? It's the whole thing. It's getting your e-ticket now. But I've got friends of mine who've actually kept their printed tickets from when they went to every concert, and I wish I'd done the same.
I've got some in a shoebox.
I wish somewhere. I've got my Live Aid t-shirt and program, but I wish I'd kept a load more stuff, because it's just all those tactile.
It's memories. It's memories. And this is it. That's the power of it all, and that's the power of music. that it can just take you into different places, and it can take you to a happy place, and it can take you into a melancholy place, but it's just very powerful.
Yeah, it is, and it's just one of those things that I think that if you don't experience it. I was speaking to someone the other day actually about concerts, and he said, "Oh, I've not been to many," and I said, "Okay." He said, "Apart from this and that," and he reeled off about 20 concerts he'd been to. That he said, "I'm not really big into live music." And he reeled all this stuff off. But again, it's that experience, isn't it? It's getting all those little bits lined up so that everything you do is memorable, and that's the most important thing. I don't know if anyone's got any questions as we go through this. I forgot to say, if you want to bring any questions in or give.
Well, I think Cliff's finally online. He's tried 3 devices, so I think he's just managed it now. So
yeah. So if anyone's got any questions or they want to buzz through to them or anything like that, then please do. Excuse me, we can pick up on all that. So going back, so just going back to the AC/DC bit again, it's something that I think is really, that we kind of home in on these one single albums or certain things, and it's stuck with you forever. You know, is it the sort of thing you'll continue to have that, or always be part of what it is you want to think about and takes you back to?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, as soon as you just said it there again, you know, oh, go back to AC/DC, and you know, Back in Black, and all of a sudden I started to think about the track "You Shook Me All Night Long," and I had the opportunity to go out to Hong Kong many years ago in my previous career, setting up a sourcing office, and me and a couple of the guys that went out there, we had such a stormy night in an Australian bar out in Hong Kong. "You Shook Me All Night Long" came on, and the place just erupted. And 25 years later, that just makes me smile. The memories of what went on.
And I think that's the powerful thing, isn't it? It just takes you straight back to all those kind of places.
Yeah, definitely.
That it's, you know, and what's your kind of, I know you do a lot of cycling and things like that. You go out and do a lot around that. What's the kind of go-to track for the cycling kind of thing? Is that a mixture of?
It's a mixture, and what I tend to do is just let Spotify throw a playlist at me or something like that. Although I've got a couple of playlists that are for Le Mans when I go to Le Mans, so they're fairly powerful, and it could be, you know, made up of some AC/DC, it could be Simple Minds, it could be The Alarm that are in there, Doobie Brothers, all that I've mentioned before. It's just an eclectic mix of stuff, but it just keeps you going and helps you pedal away.
Yeah, and I think it's getting the motivation. I must admit, I have certain tracks on that I know if I'm running to, it makes me go faster.
And
if I get the wrong track on the wrong speed, I'll be running too fast and I won't be able to cope.
But it can change your mood.
It can.
You know, it's like at work, you say about the music. It's very important for us here that, you know, we conduct ourselves in a certain way to be sort of in line with our brand and our values. And you know, it's not just about the decoration and the lovely green paint on the walls and the graphics. It is also the music. And on Fridays, for example, we just have fun Fridays, probably 1 in 4 in normal circumstances. I'll pay for some lunch. So we take it in turns who's picking the lunch. We take it in turns who's picking the music, and then they can select the music and subject us to their own, whether it's Duran Duran or whether it's Mozart or Beethoven, who knows.
That's pretty cool. I like that idea. That's really.
Well, I think from the staff, it's you know, the values. It's not just about creating memorable experiences for our customers. It's creating something that's enjoyable for our staff and our team, and I'm very big into that.
Yeah, I think that's a really valuable point. People talk about, you know, the customer experience, the customer journey, but it's so important, isn't it, then to engage your team as to what it is that they're doing and feel like they're part of it. Otherwise, it becomes over a bit more kind of dictatorial, I suppose, to some extent, saying this is the way we do it, and that's not how you operate as a business anyway, is it?
No, I mean, my reckoning is, you know, if I want to give our customers the right sort of experience and I want to give our customers the right sort of value and advice and everything else, I've got to have the right team. And I've got to have the right team that's happy. It's not just about the person that knows stuff. It's about the environment, and the environment's got to be sort of conducive to how I'd like PMG to be portrayed out there and how we talk to our customers. And I'd like to think that we are acutely different in some ways compared to some of our peers. And, you know, it's all part of that experience, just doing something at PMG. They talk to our customers about it. And then the customers go, oh, wow, that's a great idea. We should do something like that. So at least, you're just doing something different.
Yeah, and I think that's it, isn't it? It's taking the step back and thinking, shall we? It's not a case of being brave, really, either, is it? It's just doing something that's comfortable and fits with your whole ethos and your whole brand. And
it's just doing what you believe in.
Yeah.
If it's your values, if it's what you believe in, and you think it's true and it's the right thing to do, why wouldn't you do it? Because if you can do that with the team, if they're floating and they're happy, and whether that's through music or whether they've had the pizza for Friday lunch or fish and chips, they're more productive. They'll put a little bit more in, and it's just enjoyable. We spend a lot of time, or usually we spend a lot of time at work, don't we?
Yeah, we do, absolutely. Yeah.
We're drawing plans up about how we're going to redecorate this place. A fresh start. Are we going to get a posh coffee machine or just make do with what, the instant? Just different things to make the whole thing better, which then will translate into conversations with customers. As daft as some people might think that sounds. I truly believe it.
It does, doesn't it? Because we've had, previously we've had experiences where we've had couriers who've come in and we've had a chat with them and just have a bit of banter, and they can promote your business so much that they become advocates for you without even trying, because you don't know ultimately who they're connected to, who they work with, who they know, who they're married to, all that kind of stuff. It soon spreads, and it's all down to you, isn't it? Having this brand reputation, the right things in place for your customer experience, and all that kind of thing that helps.
We're all ambassadors. We're all ambassadors for the business or our respective businesses. And it doesn't matter what role we are. We're all an ambassador for our business. So we've got to look right, we've got to behave right. And that doesn't mean we've got to be stuffy or anything like that. But, people is one of the phrases that came out of some market research we did with clients a few years ago, with decent people to deal with and things like that. And they're nice. I know they're nice, and whether you can put value on that, but I think the fact that clients say that, and that's why they deal with us, because they believe in how we advise, they believe in how we suggest what we can be doing for them. And for me, that's worth a few grand on the bottom line.
Of course it is, because it's about adding value to your clients, adding value to your customers, and making sure they're comfortable in everything that you do. And they get it and they buy into it, because they're the ones who'll go and recommend you. And it soon works, as you say. We've won work recently off recommendation, and people do it because they like you. And I think ultimately it comes back to, as you say, people buy off people.
And I think very much so post this situation that we're working through now. I think relationships are going to be a huge thing. I think true collaboration, real collaboration is going to be a big thing. Because everybody's business in the short term has definitely shrunk. How fast we recover, we don't know. But the world has changed beyond doubt, and I think some of the barriers have got to be broken down now if we're serious about recovering as an industry or as a collective.
And I think certainly from the collaboration point of view, I think it needs to be viewed as an opportunity rather than a threat to work with people. Whilst all this goes on, we've still got the music that stays a constant behind it all.
Well, the music's always going to be the go-to, isn't it? The music, whether it's at the end of the day when you're jumping in your car and you just want brain out, or whether you just need to chill out. I mean, it's different things can mean different things to people, or different tracks will mean different things. But I know if I want to feel warm and sunny, I'll put certain music on. If I just want to chill out, you put another sort of music on. If I want to think about my family in Canada, I put different styles of music on. It's very powerful.
It's all about, isn't it? It's all about creating those experiences. Well, listen, Mike, it's been brilliant to talk to you. Thank you for your time.
My pleasure.
But it's all about, for us, creating that experience, whether it's music or not, but everything evokes emotion, evokes things. And it's so important that when you're dealing with your clients, you invoke that emotion, whether it be through welcome packs, through print, through design, whatever it might be. It's about engaging it so that you can get all the touch points in place to be able to give your customers the best experience, and give them the memories like you do with the music. So if people want to connect with you, Mike, what's the best thing to do? Is it for them to connect with you on LinkedIn?
I'm on LinkedIn, so please, LinkedIn's probably the quickest and easiest, or email mike at pmg-pm.co.uk. But look me up on LinkedIn, and it'd be great to share stories of music.
Yes, absolutely. And after this, there will be an email that goes out with a copy of this recording with the bits edited out at the front. And a link to, we'll put your contact details in there as well, Mike, and there'll be a couple of downloads from us and things like that. But I just, I don't know if any of you guys have got any questions you want to pop in the chat or anything like that, to give Mike any grief over his choice.
Or my beard.
Or his beard, yeah.
Which the whole reason for the beard is this is now, as we're in a tender and we're waiting on a decision, my youngest son asked me to grow a goatee again, as I did last year. And I actually did the pitch with the goatee, which my wife was so stunned that I did that. But I've now decided it's like a playoff beard. I'm not going to shave it off until we've got a decision.
So will it still be there for the big breakfast then?
Well, we hopefully get a decision next week, but you know, I might grow to like it, you know. Yeah. We'll make a straw poll on this call.
Oh dear, I'm not even going to go there.
I think it looks all right, Mike, myself.
He's there. You see, finally, Clifford T. How are you, dear boy?
I'm all right, Michael. I had some technical issues earlier, so I just had no audio. My video's not working. This is on Zoom, but it's all right on Teams. Bit bizarre. So anyway, I've got you on my mobile phone now. So I just typed the password into my phone, and here we are.
Yeah.
Here we are. Here we are.
You'll get a full recording anyway, Cliff, so you can have a link to it, and any bits that come through, you'll be able to.
That's very good of you. Thank you very much.
It'll come through as a link, so no worries at all.
All good.
Right, brilliant. Thank you all for joining us. The next one we're doing in a month's time is with Caroline Hobday of Mayday. If you haven't seen Caroline, then please check her out on LinkedIn. She's absolutely fascinating to listen, absolutely awesome to listen to. And had some real stories, and she's big on her music, but she's one of our clients. She's brilliant to listen to, brilliant to talk to, and no doubt she'll be taking the mick out of my hair, which she normally does, because this time next month it'll have gone again, and it was just getting worse than it already is. So anyway, on that note, I'm going to go and quit on my head. All right, guys, thank you for joining us anyway. Thanks again, Mike, really appreciate it.